Good Monday morning at the Thrive Like a Viking headquarters, which is also the Garden Like a Viking and the Travel Like a Viking headquarters. Guys, if you haven't already, check out my Travel Like a Viking channel and the latest video I released. Let me know why all of a sudden that one has gotten 2,000 views like immediately when what's so special about that one? I need to repeat that, whatever I did with that one. But I'm not sure what the difference is. To me, they're all good, but I don't know. Maybe it's just finally catching on. We'll see. Okay, so let me know where you're at. Hopefully, you got your book with you because that is the focus of the day. We are gonna read through and discuss some of the power of now because I know you guys are getting a lot out of it, which I knew you would, of course, because it is absolute spiritual masterpiece by Eckhart. So a lot of you have messaged me, said, wow, I'm really getting a lot out of this book. I'm really, the concepts, I can only read a couple of sentences before I have to ponder it. And yes, this is true. So let us know if you have any questions as we go along. We will see. Let us see who is here. I'm a little bit out of breath because I still don't have a stand for this iPad. And so I had to run downstairs at the last second. I had to run downstairs, get a huge stack of books and bring it upstairs and power up the stairs with it so that I could have it at this level. So and I just finished my kettlebell training and just finished the breath work, stretching. Oh, it's been a fantastic day. Pam, hello, my friend, says hello, Nate, and all you lovely people worldwide. Much peace and blessings from South Africa. Yes, hello. Donna Tarrant says, good morning from East Texas. Val Thatcher, good morning, everyone. Happy Monday. Chilly 18 degrees here in northern Arizona. USA with snow on the ground. Yes, little tiny bit of snow on the ground here. But it's going to get cold next week, actually cold, like in the zeros and the negative, the minus Fahrenheit. So that'll be great for the cold training because it's real cold training now. And we've got the first set of classes happening starting tonight in the new year. So people are going to be in for it because there's definitely a layer of ice on the ice bath now. It's an ice bath. It's not a cold plunge now. So there's a difference between the ice bath and cold plunge. Matthias, hello from the Netherlands, says freezing in the Netherlands. Yes. How cold does it really get there, though? It's kind of a mild winters, right? It gets freezing, but not deep freezing, right? Brian Airy, good morning, Nate and Tribe. Much blessings and peace, my Viking friends. Blizzard warning here, and it just started snowing. Yes, that's the best. That is the best. Crystal Jones, hello, my old friend. Good morning from northern Indiana. That's right. Zone 5/6 now. Officially, we're zone 6 now, which we'll see about that. Carol Fago says, good morning. Cold here too in Ontario. Oh, yeah, that's the real north. The northern Indiana, we're the fake north in comparison to Canada. So Graham, hello, he says good morning or good afternoon. It's 3:30 in the day here in very sunny Ireland. Oh, nice. Isn't that kind of rare for Ireland? Creative Soil, good morning, Tribe from Oklahoma. I cold plunged in the rain this morning. Beautiful, isn't it? Wonderful. Okay, we're gonna see who else is here and then we're gonna get started. So Jenny Grubb says, lovely morning from Iowa, bright but not sunny. That's a good way to put it, yes. Deeply overcast here, which I love, so not a problem. This Viking skin and genetic makeup thrives in overcast and cold. So Jerry Bates, good morning all. Hope your Monday goes better than mine started. Lots of challenges I had to make myself present for. It helped greatly. Nice, okay. So Jerry is illustrating how the practices, we have to bring them into our life. All the practices that we do on this channel, anything that we talk about, anything that we do has absolute real world functionality into it, okay? It's not like something that has to stay locked away in a temple or locked away in a church or locked away. We bring all of this stuff into our day-to-day life, and that's the beauty of it. When we're doing the meditations, we're doing the sauna therapy, we're doing the cold training, we're doing the kettlebell, You know, we're getting healthy. We're eating the things, we're eating the right stuff, putting the right things in our body. All of this kind of stuff, it all is like the same package. And so that it goes over into every aspect of our life. We have more spiritual and emotional resilience. So something happens and it just derails us. No, that's the old us. Now we have tools, we have practices, tools that we can use. And so we are conditioning the physical, emotional, spiritual, mental, all of that to be resilient and strong and healthy and happy. And so that is the real beauty of all of this, is bringing it out into the life, into the real world, and seeing, okay, something happened. Watch the thought, watch the sensation. And we're going to get into that here in just a moment with the power of now. Watch the sensation as it comes and as it goes. At first, that can be tough, of course, but with practice, you can become an expert, ever vigilant watcher, and you can see it coming, and you can make a choice. Do I flow with this, or do I just watch it leave? Hmm? So Deacon MMA says, hey Nate, hello my friend. And Brian says, I laughed and told my wife all the heavy hitters are here today. Yeah, all the good guys are here. 8A Gardening and Clay, yes. So, okay, let us see here. Graham, when I lived in Holland, it would be -15. They would flood the football pitches and use them as skating rinks, and the canals too. It was something to see. Wow. And he means Celsius, so that's not quite -15, what we're used to. Ms. T, good to see you here, my friend. Says peace and love to everybody. Yes. Blue Wolf. Okay, so hopefully you guys have all been reading The Power of Now. Yes, I know a lot of you have, because you've directly messaged me and you talk about it in the Discord, of course. And guys, we need to liven up the discourse, or the Discord, Thrive Like a Viking chat. Okay, the Garden Like a Viking stuff, people are already taking off on that. But the Thrive Like a Viking, we need to share more experiences. I want to see pictures of you guys' cold training setup, okay? Or of your sauna training setup. You've used the link in the description to get either the wood-fired sauna tent that I made the video about, that I absolutely love, or you've used the link in the description to get the steam sauna, the indoor one that is like much less expensive, $300, top of the line for those kind of steam saunas. You just put it in the house, so there's really no excuse, you know. Or you can make your own in some way. Show us pictures of all of that, okay, in the Discord. And also of if you're doing kettlebell training, you know, if you guys want to know specific workouts, you know, you can definitely just learn the kettlebell swing, the kettlebell clean and press. That is what you need to begin getting strong and resilient. Functional real world strength. That's what it's all about. So, yes, hello, Wild Bill. Matias says, I'm already at chapter 7. Oh, yes, definitely. It's actually not a very thick book, and it's easy to read. But so we are going to discuss chapter 2, which is very important. Actually, every word of this book is very important. But chapter 2 is where he introduces the pain body, and we will talk about that, definitely. So I think we should still do a brief meditation. You know, it's going to be truncated a little bit, but it's good to drop in. All right. So let us just, wherever you're at, whatever you're doing, just stop for a minute. We're gonna do like 5 minutes. So let us together take a few deep conscious breaths, breathing fully in. Hold. Let it go. Again, fully in. This is important. Hold. Let it go. Last one, breathing fully in. Hold. Let it go. Now immediately bring the attention to the sensation of air as it flows in and out of the body. The body is relaxed. The hands are gently folded or in your lap or on your knees. There's no tension in the face. The face is completely relaxed. The jaw is relaxed. The neck relaxed, loose, limber. The spine is straight. Allow the energy to flow. Fully experience each breath, each element of the breath. Many of you, because you've been practicing, already you have become still and silent within, and a sense of peace and joy has begun to arise in you. Notice this. Allow the joy, allow the peace to be there. Don't attach to it. Don't try to hold on to it. Whatever is happening in this moment, allow it to happen exactly as it is. Allow the body to breathe exactly as it wants to breathe. When thoughts come into the mind, just observe. Watch the thought. Briefly notice the quality of the thought. Label it, and then let it go. If images of the past are coming into your mind, notice that. Briefly say, remembering mind, and then let it go. And come back to the breathing. Whatever mind activity is happening, notice the quality of it. Planning mind, regretful mind, happy mind, whatever it is. Notice it, watch it, allow it to be there, but then let it go and come back to the breath. Notice how the breath will settle down to a fine rhythm, like a gentle stream of air flowing in and out, in and out. The body is light. Feel how buoyant the energy circulate through the body. Feel the gravity holding you to the earth. Together, let us take a few deep conscious breaths, breathing fully in. Hold. And let it go. Again, breathing deeply as you can. Fill the lungs. Hold. And let it go. Last one, fully in. Hold. Hold. And let it go. In the meditation practice, if your mind is very active, and the untrained mind always is, because it's been allowed to run amok for so many years, possibly your entire lifetime, and you're not even aware of it. People think that it is my mind, but if it's your mind, then control it. Make it sit still. Make it sit still for 10 seconds, let alone 5 minutes or an hour. Focus it on just one thing. Make it do exactly what you want it to do. Quickly you will find the reality is not that. And so you recondition the mind. The mind has been conditioned to run whichever way it feels like, to be pulled, especially in the modern society, to be pulled in 1,000 different directions. Everybody wants your attention. Everybody wants your subconscious belief and thought patterns. Everybody wants to imprint onto your subconscious and your psyche so that you'll buy their product, or you'll vote for their political party, or you'll do this and that, and it's being pulled in so many different ways. And the vast majority of people are not even aware this is happening. But they do feel the resulting tension within their life. A sort of free-floating anxiety, a sort of anxious energy with no real cause. They don't really understand. If you ask them, well, what's the cause of the feeling? They would say, oh, I don't really know. I'm not even sure what this feeling is. This is what is known as free-floating anxiety. You can't point the finger exactly at it, but it's just everything. It's a feeling that is arising in the individual and in the collective as well, especially the last 4 years. It's gone into hyperdrive. Your only defense against this is the light of your consciousness, which can burn away everything. To bring these thought and belief patterns into the light of consciousness, and they dissolve. That is the only remedy, and it's the only one you need, because it is the sword that can cut through any material. And this is how we begin, by observing the happenings of the mind. Watching, observing, allowing. Allowing. Even if we're frustrated, even if you notice, I can't meditate for more than 5 seconds without my mind going all over the place. I'm so full of anxiety, I can't do this. Allow that. Allow that for the time. Don't even resist that. Just allow that. Don't say, no, I shouldn't be feeling this because I'm meditating now and I'm on a spiritual path now, so I shouldn't be. These are all setbacks. There are no setbacks. You allow that, even that thought, you allow it. Just for the time. It will change like all things do. Just observe. Okay, guys. So it's wonderful meditating with you guys. I love it. I can feel you. It feels. I can just feel it. I can just feel everything. You know, like neurons in a global brain. It feels that way. Pam says, question, page 41. Everything is shown up by being exposed to the light, and whatever is exposed to the light itself becomes light. Wow, yes. See, this is exactly what we were just talking about, basically. Oh, Jennifer Baldassari says, my first meditation live. I couldn't wait for this. Much love. Nice. I'm glad that you are here. And we do them every Monday. So let us see. I want to comment on Trisha's comment real quick because it's about free floating anxiety. It says, my 9-year-old has been experiencing free floating anxiety. It's been so heartbreaking to see him suffer. There's only so much I can do. He has to be willing to try to use the tools to manage it. Yes, definitely. Definitely. Guys, the next session that we're going to do next Monday is going to be about free floating anxiety. Okay? I got a lot to say on this. And it's very important and very relevant to our current situation. So we will talk about that then, definitely. Yeah. Yes. So make sure you're here next week, Trish. Thank you for that. And yes, there is only so much that you can do, but you can be the light. You can practice yourself. You know, mama has to be whole and complete and feeling good. And if that's the case, then the whole household can absorb that radiant energy. Yes. So this is very important. Matias says, Nate, would you like to one time show us some more stuff that is on your walls? Oh, yes, I could do that. Yeah, I could do that, definitely. Yeah, it's definitely. Okay, so Pam says, so I'm going to focus on this book for this time, okay? So Pam says, question, page 41. Everything is shown up by being exposed to the light, and whatever is exposed to the light itself becomes light. So then she says, lust seems out of place in that statement. So what he is meaning by that, everything is shown up by being exposed to the light. And so it's exactly what we were just saying. Only when these kind of things, lust and anger and anxiety and envy, all of the darker sort of negative emotions, they only really have power so long as they can lurk in the shadows of our unconscious mind. So long as they can just be in the background and we're not really aware that they're there. Remember, guys, the subconscious mind is 95% of what determines our experience, our waking experience. Remember the iceberg? You've all seen those iceberg images where the 90% or 95% of the iceberg is underwater. Just a tiny little bit that we see is just a little 5% of the iceberg. And that's a perfect analogy for the subconscious mind. Just the little 5%, the little tip that's above the water is what we are, is our conscious thinking mind. The mind that thinks, the mind that has, can compute mathematical equations and stuff like that. The egoic mind, yes, Ms. T. The egoic mind, definitely. And so the rest of it, though, is what is really controlling our life. And the subconscious mind takes beliefs and thoughts and patterns and writes them in stone. And and then catalogs it and says, okay, this is how we believe, or this is how we are going to act in our life. And so it's very difficult, or not difficult, but it takes time to weather away that writing in stone and rewrite something else. Okay, so but the number one way to do that is by bringing these things into the light. So lust, for example, Pam gave the idea of lust, and so lust is there, and we are lustful so long as we are unconscious of it and we are acting upon it. We think, I feel this way, and we take our emotions and our feelings, these kind of emotion and feelings. I'm not talking about intuition, is totally different. Heart intuition is different than emotions and feelings. So we take these emotions and feelings to be truth, absolute truth. That's how I feel, that's the reality of the situation. So I act upon that lust. We are lustful at that point. It has control over us at that point. But if we can observe, meaning we see, oh, wait, what is this feeling within? And we go within and say, oh, okay. And we label it lustful mind. See, the meditation is perfect. We label it lustful mind. And we observe it, we watch it. And we can just repeat. I mean, it can be very strong. And then we just let it go. We let it go. As soon as we notice it and we observe it, it loses that fraction. It sort of severs the link. Not completely, and especially not at first, but with some practice, absolutely. Until whatever is arising in this experiential sphere, experiential field, can be observed, or it can be acted upon instead of reacted upon. So I hope that clarifies a little bit, in my opinion. So, chapter 2, consciousness, the way out of pain. All right. Let me see if you guys have said okay. So Eckhart says the greater part of human pain is unnecessary. It is self-created as long as the unobserved mind runs your life. Exactly what we were just talking about. The pain that you create now is always some form of non-acceptance, some form of unconscious resistance to what is. On the level of thought, the resistance is some form of judgment. Now, what does he mean by that? This is very, very important, okay? On the level of thought, the resistance is always some form of judgment. Now, when we think of judgment, we're typically thinking of judging somebody, or judging, oh, well, that was good or that was bad, or she shouldn't have done that. But situations is what he's really talking about, is anything that we are judging, in the sense that this situation shouldn't be happening. This shouldn't be like this. I shouldn't be experiencing this, but I've done so much, and why is it always me? Why does it keep seeming like this always happens to me when this shouldn't be happening? This is not what my life was supposed to turn out like. This is not what I had planned in life. All of that is judgment. That's judging ourself, our own life, and the situation, but it's judging the now. Remember this, guys. The now is always inevitable. The now, the current situation, is always inevitable because it already is the case. This is the fundamental judgment that he's talking about, all right? So, let's see. Grandma Zoo, good to see you here, says the book is awesome and has enlightened me to years of my struggles and actions. Thank you, Nate, for directing me to this great resource. Absolutely, my friend. This is what it's all about. This is, yes. And also, this is the light within you recognizing, hey, okay, there is something here. All of you guys are brought to this for a purpose, you're guided to this sort of thing. Okay, because this is what's meant for you. To hear things like this, to be guided to these sort of resources, and say, oh, okay. And then you read it and it resonates with certain things from your life, and then boom. For some of you, it will be your time. It will be your time to awaken from the dream, and suffering will end for you. Suffering will end. I know that seems phantasmal, but it's not. It's reality. Absolutely. So it might just be your time, and that's okay. So he goes on, the mind always seeks to deny the now and to escape from it. In other words, the more you are identified with your mind, the more you suffer. The more that you are identified with your mind, the more that you suffer. And so that is really saying the identification is the unawareness. It is the happenings of the mind going on, judging your life, judging the people in your life, the situations. This shouldn't have happened, or the country is in this certain state, or all the worried about the collapse and the World Economic Forum and all of this stuff. If you think, but see, you're not thinking. But if you're not thinking and you're unconsciously identified with that stream of thoughts and feelings and emotions, then you think that that's you, and that's the ego mind. Now, if you're viewing this from the standpoint of the ego mind, you're thinking, well, what else is there in life? I mean, what do you mean? That's everything I am, is my thoughts, feelings, and emotions. That's actually a tiny, little, almost insignificant fraction of your true nature. And so once the disidentification happens, that's when the whole other realm of the whole other realm opens up. So, or you may put it like this, Eckhart says, the more you are able to honor and accept the now, the more you are free of pain, of suffering, and free of the egoic mind. Why is this? Because the ego mind does not exist in the now, which is actually the only moment there is. So if it doesn't exist in the now, where does the ego thinking mind exist? Well, it actually doesn't exist. It's an illusion. The illusion happens in the concept of there being a future and of there being a past. And so this is where it lies. This is where the ego mind lies. And so the now, that's why he says, the more you can honor and accept the now, the more you are free of pain, of suffering, and free of the egoic mind. And that's why he goes on to say, time and mind are in fact inseparable, because without time, there is no mind. Without thought, without time, there is no mind. So right now, for example, if you can do it, take no thought. Take no thought of the past or of the future. No memories of the past, no anticipations for the future, no judgments for the present moment. Just stop the thought. And what is left? Just silence. Just peace and beauty and joy and serenity. These are your natural state. So Eckhart goes on. The mind, to ensure that it remains in control, seeks continuously to cover up the present moment with past and future. And so, as the vitality and infinite creative potential of being, which is inseparable from the now, becomes covered up by time, your true nature becomes obscured by the mind. So listen to that, guys. As the vitality and infinite creative potential of being, which is inseparable from the now, meaning it is the now, becomes covered up by time, your true nature becomes obscured by the mind. We have to digest this completely, guys. We have to digest this statement. Let's see if you guys are saying things. Yes, Ms. T, an illusion as the past and future. Absolutely. Good morning, Kenny Green. Ms. T said, this book is awesome. Yes, it definitely is. Grandma Zoo says, now you have me crying. Oh, yes, Grandma Zoo. Yeah, you're feeling it. Wonderful. This is what it's all about. Ms. T says, so true, Matias. I feel for my 18-year-old granddaughter that lives with me. So sad at times to see her struggle, but I do see some of the things that I've showed her are manifesting. Absolutely. This is what it's about, planting the seeds. Planting the seeds. You know what I've realized is that, okay, I read this book 20 years ago and then went about my life and went about traveling and all that stuff. And I read the book and then I listened to it on audiobook while I was working at the factory. If you guys have watched my Travel Like a Viking channel, when I was working at the factory for those couple years, saving up to go traveling, I could listen to headphones all the day because I was just soldering circuit boards for military aircraft, looking through a microscope. So I was listening to The Power of Now. Several times I listened to the whole thing on CD. Um, I went to the library and got the CD. You know, that seems ancient now. But, and then that was it. I put it away for 20 years or whatever, 15 years. And so now reading this though, looking through it again, I can see what seeds were planted. An unbelievable amount of seeds were planted by this book that were nourished by the world traveling, by the experiences that I saw, the things I saw, the people I met, the all the experiences that I had were watering and nourishing the seeds that this book and others like it, but mainly this, planted during that time. Because I had no idea. I was like 22. You know, how could I, 20, even how, when I first read it, and then I listened to it several years later while I was at the factory. Um, and I thought that I understood parts of it, but I really didn't. I really didn't. And something deep within me recognized the truth within what was being spoken here. And so it sort of cataloged it deep within me. And then went about my life in the world, and certain things were confirming, certain things were nourishing this truth that we're in here. Until now, I read this and every single word resonates perfectly. It just, it's so matter of fact. It's so matter of fact. There were so many things that I didn't understand when I first read this, but now I read through it and it's just a perfectly understand. It's a perfect reflection of the truth. So so yeah, planting seeds. Do not make no mistake. Planting seeds is extraordinarily powerful. Yes, if you guys have ever seen the redwoods in Northern California or any enormous, massive trees, the redwoods start from a seed that is like that big, tiny, tiny, minuscule seed, and it grows into a mammoth, unbelievable Jurassic monster. You know. Okay, Eckert goes on. If you no longer want to create pain for yourself and others, if you no longer want to add to the residue of past pain that still lives on in you, then don't create any more time, or at least no more than is necessary to deal with the practical aspect of your life. How to stop creating time? Realize deeply that the present moment is all you ever have. Make the now the primary focus of your life. Whereas before you dwelt in time and paid brief visits to the now. Have your dwelling place in the now and pay brief visits to past and future when required to deal with the practical aspects of your life situation. Always say yes to the present moment. What could be more futile, more insane than to create inner resistance to something that already is? What could be more insane than to oppose life itself, which is now and always now? Surrender to what is. Say yes to life and see how life suddenly starts working for you rather than against you. Now, this is just so profoundly important. If you can if you can realize, meaning it becomes a reality for you, the truth of this statement. The now is the now is always inevitable, like I was saying before. And how do we know that? Because it's already the case. So it seems like mental gymnastics at first, but it's much more than that, because you are seeing, all right, whatever this moment is already here. It's already inevitable. By the time you're aware of it, it's already here. So that is the now. And most people are resisting the now, constantly treating it like it's a means to an end. Like, okay, well, the real satisfaction life actually is somewhere in the future. Now it's just a tiny little brief moment that is fleeting. It's not the same as the present moment, past, present, and future. You know, we say this, we're conditioned to think that this is real, past, present, and future. But it's all happening in the now. And Jenny Grubb says, bingo on that statement. Yes, absolutely. Say yes to life. Say, okay, this is what this moment is. So I accept it. Now, acceptance does not mean approval. This is important. It does not mean approval, that I approve of this moment and therefore it's going to last forever. No. Spencer Mountain says, I love when he says to wait for your next thought. This is a good meditation trick, as it takes forever for it to come when you are waiting for it. Oh, that's good. Yes, definitely. Wait for your next thought. That's a good way to put it. I like that. Yes, wait for the next thought. Because there, again, you're watching the mind, but it's, yeah, waiting for it, because a watch pot never boils, right? You're just waiting for it. Okay? Like a guard dog. That's nice. Creative Soil says, almost everything that I believed is a lie or a twisted truth. My ego is still angry about it. It's mad because everything it identified with is not real. LOL. Hence, it's not real. Okay, guys, Creative Soil is getting it, is feeling it. Yes, yes, yes. This is true. So, yeah, when I went through the shift, which we could call ego death, there was a deep mourning, period of mourning of what I thought I was, everything that I valued, everything that I thought was valuable, everything that I thought I was doing or that had happened. I woke up from the dream and it was like, oh, what? It was all a dream. And it took my breath away for a long time. And there was a dark night of the soul. And I just had to go through that completely by myself. Yeah. And that can happen. That can happen. But on the other side, there is life itself. Yes, what appears to the ego as emptiness, life without me, life without thought, life without emotion. What are you talking about? No, only to the current state of the ego mind does that seem like, well, then I'll just be a robot and I'll just be functioning. I don't want to be a robot. You know, I want to feel things and I want to, yeah, I know. It sounds that way at first, but only once the ego mind has dissolved does life begin to show its true colors. You begin to feel, truly feel, from your heart and from the being, not from the filter of your past experiences and your conditioning and all this. It's a beautiful thing. So let's see here. So the guy says, the present moment is sometimes unacceptable, unpleasant, or awful. Eckhart says, it is as it is. Observe how the mind labels it and how this labeling process, this continuous sitting in judgment, creates pain and unhappiness. By watching the mechanics of the mind, you step out of its resistance patterns, and you can then allow the present moment to be. This will give you a taste of the state of inner freedom from external conditions, the state of true inner peace. Then see what happens and take action if necessary or possible. By watching the mechanics of the mind, you step out of its resistance patterns. You can then allow the present moment to be. And he says, this will give you a taste, because he knows that at first it's not sustained. You just get brief tastes in your meditation, or you'll be reading and there'll be a sort of aha moment, like, oh, that all makes sense. And you'll briefly feel a state of profound peace and joy and serenity within you and happiness. And whoa, but then it'll go away. It comes and goes at first before it's self-sustaining. But he says this will give you a taste of the state of inner freedom from external conditions. So he says, accept, then act. Whatever the present moment contains, accept it as if you had chosen it. Always work with it, not against it. Make it your friend and ally, not your enemy. This will miraculously transform your whole life. Listen to that's a bold statement. This will miraculously transform your whole life. And this is true. This is true. Accept the present moment. So he goes on. So we begin talking about the pain body, guys. Now, let me know your thoughts on the pain body. What is the pain body mean to you? What is your current understanding of it? Do you see the pain body in yourself? If you have read through this book or if you're working through the book, um, Eckhart makes a very, it's a core of his teaching, the pain body. Now, I have to say straight away that the pain body is this is an analogy, of course. It's like a metaphor. So he is personifying something that the pain body is not an actual entity. He says it that way so that the mind can grasp it. Okay? So it's not there's not actually a pain body. It is a mental, emotional energy field that lives within you as past residual pain. So it lives within you as the thing that happened to you as a child, or the thing that happened, even the thing that happened to you last week or yesterday or 5 minutes ago. And it's that the emotion that comes with, that gets lodged, that gets energetically trapped, in within us. So Jennifer says, I was confused by what the pain body was. Right. And this is, I'm saying it like this because I was confused when I first read it as well. I kept thinking that there's an actual entity, but this is back when I thought that there was an actual me, that there was an actual entity here as well, instead of just the flowing beauty of all that is. So I was looking for it, but what it really is so he says, as long as you are unable to access the power of the now, every emotional pain that you experience leaves behind a residue of pain that lives on in you. It merges with the pain from the past, which was already there, and becomes lodged in your mind and body. This, of course, includes the pain you suffered as a child, caused by the unconsciousness of the world into which you were born. This accumulated pain is a negative energy field that occupies your body and mind. If you look on it as an invisible entity in its own right, you are getting quite close to the truth. So it's very good to view it this way as a entity, because what do all entities want? What drive does all entities have? All entities have the will to survive. No entity wants to die, because if it did, it wouldn't be an entity for long, and it wouldn't procreate more entities like it. Recognition. Now that's also a good one as well. Of course, yes, this is a very good one as well, Val. But I'm speaking even. I'm speaking when I say entities, I mean even single-celled organisms, even a virus, even anything that is alive or whatever. Uh, what does it want? It wants to preserve itself. This is what all entities, all animals, definitely humans and animals and stuff are, have this self-preservation mechanism. Although in humans, of course, we see the phenomenon that the possession of the ego mind can drive people to self-destruction. Totally against nature. Every law of nature, completely against all the laws of nature. The ego mind has possessed people to the point where they will self-destruct, terminating themselves. So besides humans, though, other creatures don't do that. That I'm aware of, and so the every cell in your body has its own life force and wants to survive, and so the pain body wants to. Spinster Mountain says, so the pain body exists to preserve itself and takes your attention from the now in order to do that. Exactly, because this is why it's an entity, because it has a self-preservation mode. The pain body is profoundly important to understand. So how do you understand it? You begin by seeing it. Now, you can often see it easier in other people at first. Because at first it takes a lot of emotional and spiritual maturity to see it in yourself. Although ultimately that's all that matters. And everything is a reflection of yourself. But at first it's easier to see it in other people. So, Matias says, mice utopia experiment showed mice with destructive behaviors. Yes, yes, I'm aware that there are exceptions to that, of course, but as a general rule, and we're not talking about some bizarre experiment, like in the natural world, all things want to preserve themselves. Okay. So yeah, Val says, oh yeah, I'm pointing out others' problems. Right, that's much easier at first, so you can see what other people's pain body. But so the pain body is like an entity that remains locked away in your subconscious, just waiting for the opportunity to feed. So this is why he uses this analogy, because all entities need food as well. And so your pain body feeds. Your pain body feeds on negativity. Your pain body feeds on, because it is a mental, emotional energy field, the pain body, it feeds on mental, emotional energy because it's not a physical thing. So it doesn't need physical food. It needs energetic food. And how will it do that? It will remain dormant like a vampire in your life. And then when the right thing comes along, it will become triggered. When someone else or a situation resonates with the same frequency as your pain body, it will get triggered. Yes, it will get triggered. And suddenly, how many of you know some people that everything will be going along fine, and then one little thing will happen, and then just boom, they blow up and blah blah blah, all this spewing this hatred and negativity and all that. Thinking, where did that come from? It's because it was already there lurking within them. All it took was a little trigger, because it's all unconscious, lurking in the shadows. They have not worked with their pain, but they don't even begin to understand what that is or any of that. Um, Anything can trigger it, particularly if it resonates with a pain pattern from your past. When it is ready to awaken from its dormant stage, even a thought or an innocent remark made by someone close to you can activate it. Yes? So it says some pain bodies will attack people around you or close to you, while others may attack you, their host. Thoughts and feelings you have about your life then become deeply negative and self destructive. Illness and accidents are often created this way. Some pain bodies drive their host to suicide. Yes, illnesses and accidents are often created this way. The subconscious is always looking to confirm. And so the illness, so many illnesses are psychosomatic, created in the mind first and then manifesting in the body. Now, why would the body do that though? Because it's become possessed by the pain body, the mental, emotional energy field of collective pain in the past that has not been brought into the light of consciousness and let go. So watch out for any sign of unhappiness in yourself, in whatever form. It may be the awakening pain body. This can take the form of irritation, impatience, a somber mood, a desire to hurt, anger, rage, depression, a need to have some kind of drama in your relationship, and so on. Okay, so guys, how many of you know the type of people? This is how it works. As a child, you grew up in an area, in an environment with high conflict. You were not acknowledged, and there was arguing, there was belittling and drama in your life as a child. You witnessed a lot of this, all right? Now, if this is imprinted into you as a child, so if this remains unconscious, then you will become the person, and how many of us know this kind of person, and maybe you are this person, that the relationships in their life, they have to have some kind of drama in it. Otherwise, they do not feel like they are being loved. And so something will go on in the relationship and it will seem to be just fine. But then out of nowhere, there has to be some kind of drama. There has to be some kind of tension. I don't agree with this, or there has to be some kind of drama, because only with the drama do they feel at home. Only with the drama and the pain do they feel at home. And so to the outside, it appears like, why do they keep, how many women do you know that keep choosing these abusive relationships? Well, why does she keep choosing that? People on the outside can see it, but her The energetic pain body is saying, no, we need this. We need to feed on this because that's the only type of love that we know. That's how we feel at home and familiar, is when we're in a state of chaos. So Eckhart says the pain body wants to survive just like every other entity in existence, and it can only survive if it gets you to unconsciously identify with it. It can then rise up, take you over, become you, and live through you. Yes? So what he is talking about the pain body and distorting reality. So let us think of this example as a young child, okay? Where he says, because I wanted to back up just a little bit, where he says, the present moment is sometimes unacceptable, unpleasant, or awful. And Eckhart says it is as it is. Observe how the mind labels it and how this labeling process creates pain and unhappiness. Let us take an example. If there is a young child, like a really young child, okay, and it has a toy, and you take it from the child, and it has not yet developed a sense of self. It has not yet been told that it's an entity, that it has, the ego has not yet developed in the very young child. You take it from it, and it just looks at it. Okay, that's what it is. So, but now take a toddler child, 3 or 4 or 5, and now then the child has begun to create a sense of self. And the situation, okay, you're taking a toy and moving it from point A to point B. That's the reality of the situation. It is as it is. The toy has been moved from the hands of the child from point A to point B. Perfectly neutral. But the child has created a storyline around it. The child has said, that's my toy, because I'm a real entity and that's my toy, and you're taking my toy from me. And so now it has tremendous suffering. Oh, it's crying because you took my toy, which is a total fabricated story around reality, which reality is still the toy was moved from point A to point B. That's it. So this is an example of how the mind creates the suffering. The child didn't have to suffer because the toy was just moved from point A to point B. And the really young child that hasn't developed the ego mind yet doesn't suffer. It's just, okay, it just observes. It just observes. And this only intensifies. The older that we get, our toys become more and more complex, and we put our sense of self into so many things, and we suffer because of it, instead of just seeing the situation exactly as it is, perfectly neutral. We infuse our sense of self within it, and then it becomes miserable. And the pain body loves this. This is all the pain body. He says the pain body, which is the dark shadow cast by the ego, is actually afraid of the light of your consciousness. It is afraid of being found out. Its survival depends on your unconscious identification with it, as well as on your unconscious fear of facing the pain that lives in you. But if you don't face it, if you don't bring the light of your consciousness into the pain, you will be forced to relive it again and again. The pain body may seem to you like a dangerous monster that you cannot bear to look at, but I assure you that it is an insubstantial phantom that cannot prevail against the power of your presence. Guys, just when I was reading this, I felt a wave I just felt a wave of energy through me, because its survival depends on your unconscious identification with it, as well as on your unconscious fear of facing the pain that lives in you. I got flashbacks immediately of the years that I spent wallowing with addiction to some form or another. It got really intense the final years of it. But if you watch my addiction special that I did a few weeks ago or whatever, months ago, only now can I see that I was running from the pain body. If you don't face it, you will be forced to relive it again and again, because it feeds on your unconscious fear of facing the pain that lives in you. I was running from that pain, running from that emotional, mental, from the pain body. And so I would go to a new place, and I would get a new girlfriend, or I would get a new, I would go to a new island, or I would go to Greece and set up a whole new life, and everything was new and stuff for a while. But it would always, the same type of environment always manifested. And I was like, what? And so then I had to leave, and I was not aware of all of this, that it was me creating all of this because I could not face the pain that I was feeling within, the emptiness that I was feeling. But I once there was nowhere else to run and I was brought to my knees, then I had to just stop and turn around and face it and say, okay, well, just then kill me. Just do whatever you have to do. I don't care anymore. I don't care anymore. I don't care. Bring it. Bring on the pain, whatever it is. I just face it, because this life I was living is not worth living. It seems on the outside like it might be, but it was not. And so once that happened, though, it dissolved. I mean, it took some time. It took some time, but it dissolved. And there is no more. So, let's see what you guys are saying. Pam says, with our kids, if they had something they shouldn't have because we think it's dangerous, we used to replace it with another item. There was no stress. Oh, that's nice. Very good idea. Ms. T says, so the egoic mind is the cause, source of all negative drama and chaos. Yes, absolutely. Yes, this is the case. The source of all drama and chaos is the ego mind, the sense of me. The pain body amplifies all of it. The fundamental delusion is that I am an entity, is that I exist. But that's the deeper level of the teaching. And I don't know if he gets into that in this book. But, so, now this is very important, guys. Some spiritual teachings state that all pain is ultimately an illusion, and this is true, which it is. The question is it true for you? A mere belief doesn't make it true. Do you want to experience pain for the rest of your life and keep saying that it's an illusion? Does that free you from the pain? What we are concerned with here is how you can realize this truth, that is, make it real in your own experience. And guys, this is, so many people are operating from this level, okay? So pain is an illusion, the ego is an illusion, all of this, okay. But is that true for you? Because your life doesn't indicate that. You're still easily agitated, you're still combative and rude, you're still trying to do one-upmanship, you're still trying to, your life doesn't illustrate that you grasp this concept at all. The peace within and all of that. Because so many people leave it locked up as a thought. They leave it locked up as a thought. And it remains there. And it doesn't really do anything for their life because it remains an academic thought, a theoretical thought. And so, that's the thing. Okay, well, yeah, that's true. It is an illusion. But is that true for you? Because it sure doesn't seem like that. Because it seems like you're in misery and pain. A lot of misery and pain. So you can't just keep saying that it's all an illusion, and that's not how it works. You have to actually do the work. Which the work is facing it. Consciousness, the light of consciousness. And it starts with observing, with observing what is happening within, and then being willing to face it. Recognizing it, that's where it starts. Trish says, this is hitting hard today. Nice. I'm glad you're feeling it, my friend. Absolutely. I mean, we're talking about the deepest things. This is as deep as it gets. We're talking about the fundamental workings of your mind, the fundamental workings of reality. We're talking about the path, if there is a path. Well, there's not actually a path, but we're talking about the way out of all of that. The way to everlasting bliss, in a way. Joy, peace, all the good emotions, all the good feelings, all of that. Also, the bad ones. It's all beautiful. And now what we feel is good and bad. We don't want to feel the bad ones. We want to feel the good ones. But from the awakened state, even the bad ones are beautiful. It doesn't matter anymore. It just doesn't matter anymore because it's all pure light. So the pain body, Eckhart says, so the pain body doesn't want you to observe it directly and see it for what it is. The moment you observe it, feel its energy field within you, and take your attention into it, the identification is broken. A higher dimension of consciousness has come in. I call it presence. You are now the witness or the watcher of the pain body. This means that it cannot use you anymore by pretending to be you, and it can no longer replenish itself through you. You have found your own innermost strength. You have accessed the power of now. Beautiful. Absolutely. A higher dimension of consciousness has come in. And that is what stuns most people as they begin this course, this way of living, is that to the ego mind, it seems bleak and empty of love and feeling. It seems like a robot. But when you begin to observe and live this, then a much higher dimension of consciousness comes in. And you break the chains, guys. You break the chains that some have gone their entire life with. Jerry Bates says, is it needed to remove possessions to free one from the pain body, or is it more intellectual? Actually, nothing is needed. So, no. And I was on this train for a long time too. I thought, okay, the possessions are tying me down to the ego mind. The possessions are making me, are keeping me, every time I look at that, oh, I feel this, a certain way, so I need to get rid of that thing. I need to change all my possessions, or I need to have no possessions. That's for a long time. I mean, traveling, all I had was a backpack. And I was just kind of going around places, and I didn't know no onward ticket and stuff, and just kind of no money a lot of times. But that thinking that the external world is what dictates the internal experience, but it never got there. It never worked, because I didn't understand the fundamental that it's the internal that dictates and determines the external. And so it is not necessarily do you have to get rid of possessions. Now, I don't know specifically what you're talking about, but there can be certain possessions that really have a type of energetic frequency to them, which of course is not actually real, but it's the pain body that is using that possession as a trigger. So you might see, I mean, it could be anything. If you get out of an abusive relationship or something, and you see the person's boots, you see the person's car, or you still have the person's clothes, or you still have, this or that thing that you guys bought together, and oh, that life that we used to have, that we were going to have, oh man, get rid of all that stuff. Get rid of all that stuff, yes. In that case, it can be therapeutic and wonderful, but it's not totally necessary for awakening, no. But if it's done in the right way, definitely, yeah. If you feel that you've become bogged down by your possessions, yes, that can happen. If you feel like you're constantly working and constantly striving just so you can maintain your possessions that you don't really need, then you can reevaluate, yes. So Val says, okay, Jerry up here said, perhaps the pain body is triggered by possessions and the attachment to them. Definitely. But remember, the actual entity, what is happening, is not inherent in the possession. It is inherent in the storyline. It is like the child's toy. It's my possession, and it's my past. It's my history. All of it's an illusion. All of that's an illusion. It is as it is. This could be, oh, this was the thing. Okay, so here's the reality. Here is a vessel. It's got in it my coffee. It keeps the coffee nice and warm. Good coffee. Now that's the reality. Now here's the storyline. Oh, my ex-girlfriend gave me this, and we were building a life together, and we had so much planned and everything, and then I lost it all because I got drunk and I was a lunatic, and I did this and I did that, and then I beat up her dad, and I did all kinds of stuff. That's the storyline. And so if that's your storyline, then yeah, get rid of it. But again, the reality is it's just a vessel. And so it actually doesn't have power over you. as you begin to rise in the frequency levels, because there are what appears to be levels to this. When you're still starting out and very susceptible to the different energies, then yes, because this energy could be more powerful than what you have so far uncovered in yourself. And so you might not be able to see it as just a vessel. You might see it as just that whole huge storyline of all the regret and all of the stuff that happened and that didn't happen every time you look at it. So get rid of it. You know. That being said, is it necessary? No, it's just a vessel. So and then Val said, my past actions and bad decisions will at times have deep regrets, sometimes more physical than mental. Yes, yes, this is true. This is true. Now, so many of us are unwilling to face that. And so this is not saying, this teaching is not saying, well, you shouldn't be feeling that regret. You shouldn't be feeling that regret. It's not saying that whatsoever. It's saying, feel it fully. Feel it fully. Go within, sit down, and face it. And feel the regret without the storyline. Feel the regret doesn't mean rehearse over and over and over that situation that made you regret it, or that life that could have been, or that all that stuff. It doesn't mean regret this over and over and over. No, free of the storyline. This is where our practices come in. You have to be able to separate the storyline from reality. And so you go within and you feel the regret. Okay, that's the reality of what is. This moment, you have to accept. You're saying yes to this moment. That's the reality of what is. There is regret present. Okay. Now, if acceptance could be put into words, it would be this. So what? Okay, I feel regret. Now, acceptance is saying, so what? Whoop-de-doo. And that's the thing. So you accept it and it goes, okay, so what? So this is how we begin to allow it to evaporate, and it feels so good after the fact. It doesn't feel good at first because it's all this emotional energy field that appears to be real. And so we have to go deep within to feel this, and they will dissolve. So Jennifer Baldassari says, how long does a complete awakening take? So that is entirely individual and subjective. It cannot happen in a lifetime. In the vast majority of cases, it never happens. They remain identified entirely with the pain body, the ego mind. And then, when they die from this realm, there can be a sort of carrying on of that mental, emotional energy field that will then go through potentially another cycle of birth and death, birth and death, birth and death. But this is, so it also does not require any time. It can happen in one instant. It can happen in one instant. One thing can happen, and the concept, the mental, emotional energy field that I call me, can dissolve entirely. That contracted energy, because it's all the one. It's all the eternal energy. It's all eternity. And it temporarily contracts in a way to become like a me. And that energy, it's an energetic vibration, and that can dissolve immediately. And you dissolve back into all that is, the beauty. And you see, we are in eternity now. We are in heaven now. But on a actual, so there's many levels to those kind of questions because there is no time really, but we need to talk about time. So it all depends on effort. If you're like, if you just keep putting it off and say, okay, well, on Mondays I'll meditate, with the tribe and stuff, and then on Mondays I'll try, for a couple hours after that I'll try to be watchful of my mind, and then you just go about your life and just nothing really happens. That will take a very long time. But if you're like, okay, you know what? This is not working for me, whatever the current situation is. My life was intended to be so much more than this, and I'm no longer accepting this. So I'm going to do whatever it takes to realize the source of eternal joy and peace within. And I'm going to spread that to the world. And so that's my purpose of living. That's my entire goal. There's nothing else more important than that. In that case, it can take a very short amount of time. It doesn't have to take any, it's not like, okay, there's 7 steps that you have to go through, and each step takes 3 weeks. So after the 21-week program, then for only $599, it's not like that. It's not like that at all. Because, yeah. Ooh, Miss KC says, yeah, I just got off work. Can't wait to go back and listen. Yeah, definitely. It was pretty good today. It was very good today. So Jerry Bates says, rising above the story is the real work then. Yes, rising above the story. But how do we do that? We see clearly, we penetrate reality deeply, and we see that there actually is no story. It's all a fictitious narrative. It's all an illusion. And so think of an illusion this way. When the child is sleeping in its room at night, and it says, hey, can you come in here? And the child says there's a ghost in the room. The child says there's a ghost up in the corner, and it can't sleep. Who can remove the ghost? How do you remove the ghost? It's a moot point because there is no ghost. So it's not about, well, only the child can remove it because it's in his mind. Yeah, on one level, that is true, definitely. Now, the person could come in and say, okay, child, there is these 10 commandments. Here's a book, how to get rid of the ghost in the room, okay? So step 1, you have to do this, you have to do that. It takes 7 years to do this, then you will get rid of the ghost in the room. All of that is irrelevant on the higher levels when you could penetrate reality deeply and see there is no ghost in the first place. So anything that you're talking about, all the steps and all of that is kind of irrelevant because there is no ghost. That's all you have to do is see that deeply and experience that. Graham says, spending time on your own is the best way. No distractions from the clown show going on everywhere. Man, I mean, yeah, the modern world is designed to keep you in a deep storyline, deeply in a storyline. Everyone that draws a paycheck from manipulating your opinion, which is vast amount of people, they want to keep you in the storyline. They're in the storyline themselves, of course. So it's the pain body wanting to keep more pain bodies asleep, because when you wake up, then there is not. It can't be controlled. Nobody. The governments or any of that kind of stuff, even big established religions and all that, they don't want actually awakened beings, because then you realize you're a being of pure light and never have been anything else. Everything else that was put on top of that was an illusion and not real. And so they don't want that to happen, because then you don't need them, because the source of all your actions comes from within. The infinite wisdom of all that is guiding every action. Another way to say it is that I am now walking with the Lord, and I am allowing Him to speak through me. I am allowing Him to guide my actions. And so I don't have to worry or even think about, did I say the right thing? Did I do the right thing? Should I have said that? Should I have said that? I never give that a second thought, because it's the Lord working through me. That's one way to say it. Yes? Because I've given my entire life to the Lord. That's why. That's why. I've given my entire sense of self, just gone. There is no me. There's nothing to gain. I have nothing to gain or lose. So, Ms. T says, the egoic mind is notorious for turning our emotions into thinking and overthinking. Absolutely. Absolutely. We get that overthinking. How many of you got that cycle of thinking, that cyclical thinking that is repetitive and mostly useless? That is very common. That is very common. Ms. KC said, did you just change your picture halfway through this, or is this a different Ms. KC? Says, I'm on day 7 of the cleanse. This book hits a little differently reading it now. Ooh, yeah. How many of us know, because we've done the cleanse, you can be very receptive to this right now. Definitely. And guys, when you're doing the cleanse, it's great to read this book because so many of us, even if we don't have big addictions or things like that in our life, use food to keep running. So we'll feel a bit of uneasiness. We'll feel a little bit of, oh, something we don't want to feel. We're not really aware of it. So we'll go and eat something. We'll go and eat some chocolate. We'll go and eat something or whatever it is. And so that we can get that dopamine response, we can get them feel good chemicals. Oh, okay. How many of us know that? And the Master Cleanse can show us that because we don't have that opportunity. We don't have that possibility to just go and eat that thing that's going to help us distract ourselves. No, we just have to drink another lemonade, which can be brutal at first. But it's all just such a wonderful process. It's such a wonderful process. Even the pain body is still beautiful. All of it is still the divine energy of all that is. Nothing can be outside of it. And so even the pain body is good. Even what appears to be evil is still part of the goodness. Another polar energy of the goodness, but it's all within the one. Miss KC says, awakened beings can't be manipulated and distracted by foolishness. That's exactly right. And they don't need a government or a big religion to tell them how to act or anything because they have the ultimate source of knowledge within them, which is the heart energy. When it flows and the ego mind is out of the way, you intuitively know in every situation exactly what to do. And you never have to second guess yourself. So Miss KC said, oh, okay, it's you. Decided to stop using a 15-year-old picture. Hey, look at that. Transformation. So, okay, guys. We got a couple more pages left, but I don't know if we're going to get through it. But, you guys are reading this by yourself, of course, hopefully. Next time we're going to do chapter 3. Is there any of these other pages you wish to talk about? So Eckert says, when you start to identify and become the watcher, the pain body will continue to operate for a while and will try to trick you into identifying with it again. Although you are no longer energizing it through your identification, it has a certain momentum, like a spinning wheel that will keep turning for a while, even when it's no longer being propelled. At this stage, it may also create physical aches and pains in different parts of the body, yes, but they won't last. Stay present, stay conscious, be the ever alert guardian of your inner space. You need to be present enough to be able to watch the pain body directly and feel its energy. It then cannot control your thinking. The moment your thinking is aligned with the energy field of the pain body, you are identified with it, and you are identified with it again and feeding it with your thoughts. For example, if anger is the predominant energy vibration of the pain body and you think angry thoughts, dwelling on what someone did to you or what you're going to do to him or her, then you have become unconscious and the pain body has become you, in quotes. Where there is anger, there is always pain underneath. Or when a dark mood comes upon you and you start getting into a negative mind pattern and thinking how dreadful your life is, your thinking has become aligned with the pain body, and you have become unconscious and vulnerable to the pain body's attack. Unconscious, the way I use the word here, means to be identified with some mental or emotional pattern. It implies a complete absence of the watcher. This is identification, a complete absence of the watcher. It's just happening, and you're totally identified with it. So, So Jeffrey says, good morning, Thrive Tribe. So protecting the real estate between our ears and within our heart doesn't mean ignoring stuff, but allocating to where it belongs based on meditation and intention through breath work. That's a good way to put it. Yes, definitely. Protecting the real estate Okay, protecting our mind and heart doesn't mean ignoring stuff, but right. It actually never means ignoring stuff. And so this is a fundamental principle that to get clear is that a lot of people that are still operating from the ego mind, and this is fine because this is how most people operate at the time. When they're operating from the ego mind, then they will see, they will hear this message and they will think that what is being said is, well, you should pretend like you're not feeling that. You should ignore this feeling, or that you shouldn't be having that feeling because awakened beings don't have this feeling. So you got to act like this or act like that. That's the opposite of what is being said. That is still the pain body. That is still the ego mind running the show. That is still the thinker. So what we are doing is we are watching whatever comes, and we are doing it without fear. We are no longer afraid to feel whatever has been lurking inside. If it's loneliness or darkness or whatever kind of immense negativity might be happening, whatever kind of regret from the past, none of that matters anymore, because it will burn away in the light of your presence. And so you look at it and you observe it and you go within. You go within and you observe it. And if you can't get it out of your mind, you go into the cold. That'll get it out of your mind. Go into an ice bath. That will get it out of your mind. Do the breath work. That will get it out of your mind. So, let's see here. As long as the egoic mind is running your life, you cannot truly be at ease. You cannot be at peace or fulfilled except for brief intervals when you obtained what you wanted, when a craving has just been fulfilled. Since the ego is a derived sense of self, meaning fake, it needs to identify with external things. It needs to be both defended and fed constantly. The most common ego identifications have to do with possessions, the work you do, or social status and recognition, knowledge and education, physical appearance, special abilities, relationships, personal and family history, belief systems, and often also political, nationalistic, racial, religious, and other collective identities. None of this is you. So this was very profound for me, because when I left traveling, I thought, okay, well, all these unconscious people with their possessions and stuff. If you watched the last video that I made on my Travel Like a Viking channel, so I was acting about how I felt at that time coming back. It was like, oh, these unconscious people deeply identified with their possessions. That's all that they have is possessions. So I'm so enlightened, I'm not gonna have any possessions. I'm just gonna travel the world and experience, which was great, of course. But what happened was that over the years, my experiences turned into possessions, mental, emotional possessions, and I was holding on to them. Well, I've done so many things. Oh, okay, so what? Who cares? It doesn't make any difference in the ultimate reality. But when I was still in the ego mind, I thought that mattered, that would matter. Well, they're all identified with their big house and my friends don't know what it's like and all of that. I had this whole fictitious storyline created, of course. That's how I can see it, crystal clarity. When in reality, I was just turning my experiences into more trinkets and possessing them and using them to bolster my sense of self. Yeah. So, all right, guys, I think we're going to call it right now. So thank you very much. This has been a great one. Leave me your thoughts in the comments. If you have questions for next time we read, put them in the comments, and I will catalog them, and then we will bring them up during the next reading. So have chapter 3 read for next time, yes? And also talk about it in the Discord. We need to liven that up a bit. Show us your cold training, your sauna. Show us your kettlebell workout area. Show us even if you just do push-ups, show us your stuff. Tell us your regimen, all right, for other people, helping the tribe, okay? This is very important. So, yes, Miss KC says, good point. Anything can become a possession. Absolutely, yes. Anything can become a possession. Even your sense of not having any possessions becomes a possession, ultimately. And that has to be let go as well. So Carol Vance says, thanks guys, love you guys. Yes, my friend. Graham says, thanks guys. Yes. Brian Airy, stay safe out there in the now. That's right, in the now. And see you all next week. Yes, and we will talk about, what was that thing we were going to talk about next week? Is going to be, um, well, I'll have to go back and watch it. What was the thing that we were going to talk about next week? I'll see if somebody can say it real quick. Yes, well, I forget as well. So, but I'll go back and see it, and then next week will be that. Yes, free floating anxiety. Thank you, Matias. We're going to talk about free floating anxiety, which is different than anxiety. We will show you, I will illustrate. Free floating anxiety is of utmost importance to understand right now. So, see, this kind of stuff is very important, that we are able to shift from deep spirituality, from the nature of reality. We can shift into the actual fundamentals of the what we call the real world, the actual state of the world right now. We can shift right into that and observe, and we can go right into that, and we can talk about what is happening on a collective level. The free floating anxiety, how it is eroding the soul of our civilization, and how it's being used to control us. All of this we will illustrate next week. So check out the links in the description, guys. Let me know if you have any questions about the sauna. I know Jerry's loving his sauna. I'm loving mine. We got the classes starting tonight. So we got all kinds of good stuff. Check out the Amazon storefront. You know, I get a little kickback from all the links in the description. I get a small kickback, you know, that enables me to not take on sponsors on any of my channels or anything like that. So check that out. Support the channel in whatever way you can. And yes, Lisa T, thank you. Infinite Spirit goes before me and opens the way. Infinite wisdom tells me what to do and what to say. Infinite Spirit goes before me and opens the way. Infinite wisdom tells me what to do and what to say. Infinite Spirit goes before me and opens the way. Infinite wisdom tells me what to do and what to say. Now, I want to say, in other language, so it can help some other people understand, using a different set of language, we could say, to say the same thing as that mantra, we could say, now I have given myself to the Lord, and it is Him that speaks through me. It is the Lord that guides my actions. I have given my life to the Lord, and for that, I do not have to worry about anything, because it is Him acting through me. That's saying the same thing.